useful business that will yield profit. So, but right now, you may give 10,000. You may hear that government has given some people 20,000 direct transfers to them. And by the time they walk from where they have gone to collect that cash, to their home, they enter a market and they end up spending half that money or all of that money. Within a week or within a month, that money is gone. So that's because proper decisions were not taken previously to ensure that the value of the naira, sustains, such that 100,000 naira given to business people would actually be of great benefit to them. So to that extent, I don't think that will work. If the government is saying we're giving these funds to SMEs, for example, and that SMEs are going to get 2 million each and naira, and then that they are going to give 100,000 SMEs that amount of money, or 50,000 SMEs that kind of money, and then closely monitor them through the CBN and other regulatory bodies. Then we are talking real time that the impact of that borrowing would be useful. So whether the subsidy is being removed, that we are sure now that the government is bent on taking out that subsidy, taking out the subsidy, you'll find that there is overall lack of trust from Nigerians as to what the government will do by way of trying to cushion the effects of the removal of the subsidy. In the end, Nigerians generally see it as going back to square one.
Now, finally, before I let you go, what steps do you think the incoming government must take, to avert the World Bank's projection?
All right. So, for starters, you have to look at, it's not rocket science. If you come into an organization or a place where someone had occupied erstwhile, I think that one of the first things to do is to look at what the person has done. And it's very clear and evident to Nigerians the failures of the current government. The border closure is one of the things that the government shouldn't have ever ventured into. You knew you were going to close the importation of rice, and you never provided strong palliatives like stockpiling and ensuring that you have local production enough to meet the demands. So what happened was that Nigerians were thrown at the mercy of smugglers, who, of course, would hike prices, and that's how the price of rice and other commodities flew up. So the government, the new government, can wait, actually look at what the current government has done, and veer away from them. For example, over borrowing so much to do, it's like using a bazooka to kill a mosquito. You borrow so much, and the projects that you have involved your hands in doing are just minute, inflated figures in certain places. So we think that there has to gain public trust. The new administration must ensure that it doesn't just show motions of movement, activities. We're going to do this. We have this project. We have that project. But their actions should be indeed relatable projects that Nigerians can see. But one of the first things they have to do is to tackle the energy sector power and ensure that the electric power supply is sorted out ab initio. By whatever means they have to do that. And when that happens, the next will be to ensure that the downstream sector, the petroleum sector, is also giving a lift. There's a lot of brickbats, a lot of denials, counterclaims, and charges between the NNPC and their subsidiaries, their books, what they project, and the actual, the smuggling of petroleum products. There's a lot of corruption, very obvious from all indication. So the new administration must make sure that they win public trust by being transparent. Where such state-owned enterprises like the NNPC and their subsidiaries have failed, they have to look at whether they are going to privatize them, whether they are going to clean up the management and the system of these state-owned enterprises. Ultimately, also, the government has to ensure that their outlook towards elections with altruistic value to ensure that they gain back the trust of Nigerians, because right now a lot of Nigerians are bereft of hope as per the future of elections in this country. So the economy on one hand, the politics on the other hand. But the final word I'm going to leave as advice to the new administration would be to get technocrats involved in the administration of the economy, and not just to use ministerial positions to pay back political associates.
Well, Lloyd Onyike, public policy analyst, thank you very much for your time and your insight. But that's how much we can take on this edition of the program. Thank you for watching. I am Mary Kanu. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Mary Kanu. Amid the current economic downturn in the country, the World Bank has revealed that about 13 million Nigerians would fall below the national poverty line by 2025. According to the Bretton Woods Institution, this is due to the country's population growth outpacing poverty reduction. In its macro poverty outlook for Nigeria, April 2023, the World Bank showed that inflation, especially for food items, has been on the rise since 2019, which has eroded the purchasing power of poor and vulnerable Nigerians and increase in poverty. Now, according to the institution, the increase in inflation resulted from higher global commodity prices, the sharp depreciation of the parallel market exchange rate, floods that impacted several states, and the monetization of the fiscal deficit. In addition, declining oil production and the mounting cost of the petrol subsidy have prevented Nigeria from reaping the benefits of higher global oil prices. The World Bank added that insecurity remains widespread, with more violent conflict events occurring across the country, adversely impacting private investment and growth. Now, to discuss this further, Lloyd Onyike, public policy analyst, joins me on the program. Thank you very much for joining me. Now, yet another, gloomy projection by the World Bank. What's your reaction to the report that 13 million Nigerians would fall below the national poverty line?
Yeah, well, the it should come as no surprise, really, because the question will be on the flip side. We are aware of these trends. For example, we know that Nigerians are not finding life easier in the past 8 years. The question, a number of other indices which we'll look at shortly. So my reaction will be, what did you expect? So the flip side will be, if you're fighting poverty, there are strategies that you need to put in place and to implement. And so when you do not see those strategies being implemented, when you do not see these vehicles that should move the country population out of poverty being done by the government, it should come as no surprise that the World Bank is projecting that by 2025, 13 million more Nigerians, not 13 million Nigerians, but 13 million more Nigerians actually would have fallen below the poverty line. So it's no surprise.
One of the major reasons for the huge number is population growth, which the World Bank says is outpacing poverty reduction. Now, what would you say the government is not getting right in terms of management?
All right. So for starters, I know that the government is hell-bent on doing a population census at this time when it's really curious. But you have to agree with me that population censuses are vehicles of economic growth. They go pari passu, they go hand in hand with economic planning. That's the word I was looking for. And so when you look at the history of Nigeria and population census, you find that there's a lot of issues fraught with the system. But let me just point out that it would be a surprise to anybody who is particular about economic growth, how that the last time we had a population census should be beyond 15 years now, if you remember. It should be about 2006, I think. I think that was the last population census that we had, if my memory is correct. And the data that we have, it's been about 15, 16, 17 years since we had the last population census. The question will be, by what statistics really have our governments hinged their policies over the years in terms of economic growth, economic planning? What indices have they used to determine, for example, housing issues, to determine also educational planning, for example, in a locality, looking at, say, a primary school, for example, or a secondary school, a government public school, what projections do they have that, for example, the students in Surulere, students in Lagos Island, for example, have increased beyond the physical infrastructure, the facilities, the classrooms that were built, say, by a Jakonde or by a Babatunde Fashola or in their first tenures. So over the years, you find that the failure of government to do a proper population census has actually not paid right, has actually been a turn-off for economic growth. So we cannot right now begin to debate how the issues of population affecting economic growth have been dealt with properly by our government, because really they haven't actually done the right person.
We'll take a break here, but when we return, the program will continue. To stay with us. Welcome back to the program. We're still talking about the recent revelation by the World Bank that about 13 million Nigerians would fall below the national poverty line by 2025. And we still have public policy analyst Lloyd Onyenke speaking to us about this revelation. Now, Lloyd, Nigeria's debt stock currently stands at 44.06 trillion naira. What are the implications of excess borrowing by the government? How would it affect the average Nigerian?
Well, the reality is that whereas right now our government is spending about 30% of the current fiscal program of government, the budget, spend about 29 point something, basically 30% of budget to service debts, right? You find that it's way much. Credit officers and analysts will say, well, as long as it's within 33.3% of your income, you're just fine. But when you really bring out a fiscal plan and break it down and look at what amount of this, what section of this is paying recurrent expenses and what do you have left for capital expenditure, you find a large dissonance, a disparity in the figures. So the bottom line is that whereas the government is having to spend so much money to service our debt stock, to ensure that creditors are kept in abeyance and that they do not do a force majeure on our economy, the implication is that there's an erosion of funds that should have been used to invest in capital expenditure to provide infrastructure, build schools, build hospitals, and what have you, to better the lives of Nigerians. So what it means is that at the end of the day, Nigerians are worse off for it. The value and the benefit every Nigerian should have will be lost, because at the end of the day, the government is not able to meet its obligation to its citizens, the obligation to provide infrastructure, the obligation to provide, to ensure that the exchange rate is, manageable at a limit, especially for those who are into importation. And so the Naira struggles, weak as it is, the purchasing power drops below what it should be. So yes, people do the motions of I'm working, I'm doing business, but at the end of the day, they're not able
to agree in the society once petrol subsidy is removed. Do you think this is a move in the right direction?
Well, I do not think so, and here are my reasons. So the question will be, how much of that $800 million would get to individuals? First of all, I'm not questioning the authenticity of the government actually paying these funds to Nigerians. My question is, at the end of the day, if a citizen, certain citizens are paid 20,000 naira, for example, or even paid 100,000 naira, which I don't think will be afforded, the government is not likely to pay that much. But even if they pay 50,000 or 100,000, really, what benefit would that give Nigerians, better business people? You're going to find that at the end of the day, it's more of a consumption thing. It's not an investment fund. So, to that extent, I consider it a flawed approach to economics. Take, for example, the value of the Naira, the purchasing power of the Naira. If you gave somebody in 2010 100,000 naira, you probably would have given the person by the value of today 500,000 naira or more. And so that money, or 1 million, and that money is used to invest in useful business that will yield profit. So, but right now, you may give 10,000. You may hear that government has given some people 20,000 direct transfers to them. And by the time they walk from where they have gone to collect that cash, to their home, they enter a market and they end up spending half that money or all of that money. Within a week or within a month, that money is gone. So that's because proper decisions were not taken previously to ensure that the value of the naira, sustains, such that 100,000 naira given to business people would actually be of great benefit to them. So to that extent, I don't think that would be work. If the government is saying we're giving these funds to SMEs, for example, and that SMEs are going to get 2 million each and naira, and then that they are going to give 100,000 SMEs that amount of money, or 50,000 SMEs that kind of money, and then closely monitor them through the CBN and other regulatory bodies. Then we are talking real time that the impact of that borrowing would be useful. So whether the subsidy is being removed, that we are sure now that the government is bent on taking out that subsidy, taking out the subsidy, you'll find that there is overall lack of trust from Nigerians as to what the government will do by way of trying to cushion the effects of the removal of the subsidy. In the end, Nigerians generally see it as going back to square one.
Now, finally, before I let you go, what steps do you think the incoming government must take, to avert the World Bank's projection?
All right. So, for starters, you have to look at, it's not rocket science. If you come into an organization or a place where someone had occupied erstwhile, I think that one of the first things to do is to look at what the person has done. And it's very clear and evident to Nigerians the failures of the current government. The border closure is one of the things that the government shouldn't have ever ventured into. You knew you were going to close the importation of rice, and you never provided strong palliatives like stockpiling and ensuring that you have local production enough to meet the demands. So what happened was that Nigerians were thrown at the mercy of smugglers, who, of course, would hike prices, and that's how the price of rice and other commodities flew up. So the new government, can wait, actually look at what the current government has done, and veer away from them. For example, over borrowing so much to do, it's like using a bazooka to kill a mosquito. You borrow so much, and the projects that you have involved your hands in doing are just minute, inflated figures in certain places. So we think that there has to gain public trust. The new administration must ensure that it doesn't just show motions of movement, activities. We're going to do this. We have this project. We have that project. But their actions should be indeed relatable projects that Nigerians can see. But one of the first things they have to do is to tackle the energy sector power and ensure that the epileptic power supply is sorted out ab initio. By whatever means they have to do that. And when that happens, the next will be to ensure that the downstream sector, the petroleum sector, is also given a lead. There's a lot of brickbats, a lot of denials, counterclaims, and charges between the NNPC and their subsidiaries, their books, what they project, and the actual, the smuggling of petroleum products. There's a lot of corruption, very obvious from all indication. So the new administration must make sure that they win public trust by being transparent. Where such state-owned enterprises like the NNPC and their subsidiaries have failed, they have to look at whether they are going to privatize them, whether they are going to clean up the management and the system of these state-owned enterprises. Ultimately, also, the government has to ensure that their outlook towards elections with altruistic value, to ensure that they gain back the trust of Nigerians, because right now a lot of Nigerians are bereft of hope as per the future of elections in this country. So the economy on one hand, the politics on the other hand. But the final word I'm going to leave as advice to the new administration would be to get technocrats involved in the administration of the economy, and not just to use ministerial positions to pay back political associates.
Well, Lloyd Onyike, public policy analyst, thank you very much for your time and your insight. And that's how much we can take on this edition of the program. Thank you for watching. I am Mary Kanu. Bye for now.
The Osun-Osogbo Sacred Grove in Osogbo, Osun State, southwest Nigeria, is one of the last remnants of primary high forest in southern Nigeria. The site, a natural habitat that has been preserved for over 400 years, has served as both a pilgrim point as well as a tourist center for millions of people who visit the site annually to worship and celebrate the Osun goddess that is believed to inhabit the river that runs through the grove, giving the water the ability to heal and grant wishes of its believers.
Osun Grove happened to be a site that we all refer to as a living site. It's a living site just because activities that have been carried out over the years are still performed the way it used to be then. And secondly, it is a site where the worshippers do come to perform every 5th of the day, which means 5 days. They do come. For example, in churches, we go to churches during the week, but on Sunday, we christen it to be, we go to church on Sunday. Likewise, the Muslim goes to mosque on Friday. So despite the fact that the devotees do come interval, but they have a 5 day, which they call Ojose. Aside this, the uniqueness of this site is the name Oshogbo was derived from this site. The appellation of the king was derived from this site.
From the entrance, one could feel the tranquility that comes with the well-preserved forest. A little further down comes another feeling of an elevated being's dwellings. This is the Osun Osogbo Sacred Grove, one of the last sacred forests in Nigeria, along the banks of the Osun River, just outside the city of Osogbo, Osun State, southwest Nigeria. In this forest of 75 hectares of undisturbed areas of land, no residential building is allowed, no killing of any kind of animal, no fishing, no hunting or felling of trees.
Apart the fact that it is 75 hectares of the core zone and 47 hectares of the buffer zone, is one of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa and the second UNESCO World Heritage Site in Nigeria. The kind of people or crowd that comes around, one would be marveled why this. But it is a festival and a river that people believes in. Because of the sacredness, you can't cut a tree, you can't fish. And if you are not a devotee, there are certain activities you don't do so that you don't blame yourself.
The one path that cuts right through the grove is lined on either sides with sanctuaries, illustrations of traditional Yoruba deities and primary high forest. Adekunle Olatunji is the curator and site manager of the grove that has existed for over 4 centuries. On a tour of the sacred forest, Olatunji describes how the name Osogbo came about and what the grove stands for.
At Ipoleumu, some kilometers from here is in Iboku. There's an hunter. It's not just an hunter that going to the bush to kill rattle. It's a big hunter that hunts for elephants, bigger animals. In one of his sojourn, then from Ipoleumu looking for where they can get water, they now got to this site. On getting to this site, he was astounded. We were looking for almost a 40 kilometers from here, looking for water, still large water here. So he decided to go back to inform the king that, my brother, we are hunting, I got to his place and I saw this river. So the hunter then was Oguntimeyin, while the king then at Ipoleumu is Laroye. So the two of them came down to the site, seeing what they wanted. So they decided to settle down at the bank of the river. So in one of their trying to rent the tent, a tree now fell into the river. And a voice came out of the river saying, Eyoma darling, you have broken my time, but 84 koku. So everybody the two of them were so shocked. Who is this person? Simultaneously, the spirit now answered, Osogbo pele, Osogbo rora, Osogbo pele, Osogbo. That was when they knew they are in Osogbo. Literally meaning Osogbo. So now, they now felt, what is the next thing to do? In Yoruba then, something strange happened. You do divination. During their divination, they wanted to know what's happening. So the Babalawo now said, Osun dwell here. You cannot stay with Osun. So they moved from the bank of the river, move up. They now built a hut. That hut today is what we call the first palace. And there's these promises between them. That we said we should leave this place. As a powerful person, they felt, how will somebody in the river be telling us to leave? So if we are to leave, what will you do for us? And I said, okay, if you are to leave, I will make you prosper. There is no war that will conquer you. Do my bidding, and every year there must be somebody from your lineage to come and bring object of appeasement to me every year.
But the grove wasn't always this beautiful and serene. In fact, there was a time it was completely infested with termites until an Austrian artist, Susan Wenger, and her husband Uli Bayer arrived to save the sacred monument. Wenger devoted some 50 years of her life to preserving the forest, and with the help of local craftsmen in the city, she transformed the sacred grove into a sculptural garden with compelling artworks and objects of habitation. Because of them, this 200 acres is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
When Mama started with the Osun Groves, she started at the area we called Ayedakun. Ayedakun is also part of the groves. Our first two sculptures are still there, where we have Obatala and Yemo. And she did that, not in one place, and Mama got her inspiration, from there, because she stayed there for a while.
She was invited to come and see or assist us in treating this termite attack. In doing that, she now fell in love with the culture. So she's so powerful and mystic that if she sleeps, revelations of what she is expected to do for this place will come to her. Then she now felt, for somebody of her status, there's a need for her to have people to work with. Then she now got in touch with the Oba. Then there and then some interested indigenous that were into art then were introduced to her. So that was why they formed what we call a new sacred art movement. With this new sacred art movement, from instruction from her, that's why we have all these structures.
Shaded by a canopy of trees with a flight of stone leading downwards, the inner grove lies within a natural depression, marking the exact spot where the first palace of the founder of Osogbo was located. The ancient palace with its ornate pillars and elegant designs has remained in its original state for decades, and its sacredness upheld for as long as it stands. A short walk away from the palace will take you to the Osun River, which on a normal day looks just like any other river except for the utter stillness that pervades the atmosphere around it and the occasional calving in the midst of its waters. Otherwise called the Herbs of Osun, because according to its devotees, this calm flowing river transcends ordinary water. Everything about the Osun Grove revolves around this river. It's like the life of this place. You take it away, the entire place becomes lifeless. This is where the history of the grove actually started from. And every year, thousands of devotees of the Osun goddess converge by the bank of this river, where they pray, believing that all of their problems will be solved by the goddess.
If it is just a mere river, why the crowd? If it is just a mere river, why are people taking this water? I'm using this water in context because here we don't have river, we don't have water. Please, we don't have water. Once you are here, you want agbo, herbs. People that needed one thing or the other comes here to seek for assistance from Osun goddess. Believing, that's what I said, it's your faith. Believing he or she will do it for them. Whatever is being taken here is herbs. is agbo. If you take it with your faith, be you me, you'll be healed. It has been proven beyond reasonable doubt.
While the grove is the site of Oshun's most sacred shrine, many Yoruba deities are also depicted here with sculptures that are centuries old and shrines where their devotees worship. Despite the sanctity attached to it, managing the grove is not without its own challenges.
There's no lumber that will come into this site that will not pray will sleep off 72 hours, so that before we wake up, we would have cut down all the trees. We do have butchers, and despite the native laws that we do use to operate, because here you are not supposed to hunt. If you are caught, you'll be taken to the enforcement agency through the authority of Osogbo. And because of developmental pressure, as the town grows, you are bound to see people wanting to build closer to the site, thereby giving you problem. You have the challenge, but God is helping us through that native law. That native law, don't cut, don't fish. And aside that, the native law, I will tell you authoritatively, because if all of us goes home, we have night security if they are here. If you eventually decide that you want to catch any fish, you will cook it from now till that kid don't come, it's not done. So you definitely put yourself into trouble.
Once sparkling and clear and home to a variety of fish, today the sacred river is murky and brown. It is now under constant threat from pollution from waste disposal and other human activities. Another fascinating thing about the grove is the standalone suspended bridge right at the heart of the forest and just above the Oshun River, built some 87 years ago. The bridge has no pillar holding it because they say the Oshun goddess forbids it. One of the unique things to see at the grove is this suspension bridge. We understand it was built in 1935, commissioned in 1936, and the reason why the bridge was constructed was to enable people around here move goods now, especially palm products, from one end of the bridge to the other. And up till this day, the bridge is standing. It's one bridge a lot of tourists who come to this area love to see. Despite the gradual fading away of celebrated African culture and tradition, the Osun-Osogbo Sacred Grove is one cultural phenomenon that has not only stood the test of time, but also become a reference point for people from this part of the world. The grove remains more or less pristine, leaving visitors with this sense of peace and a connection to the dwellings of an elevated being and the ancient Yoruba tradition. Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal. How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Hello and welcome to the newsroom. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Azman Air, a Nigerian airline, has received approval from the federal government of Nigeria to evacuate stranded Nigerian citizens in Sudan. The airline, which disclosed this on Monday night via its official Instagram handle, said the evacuation will begin on Tuesday. On Monday, chairperson of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri Erewa, said Egypt had opened its border for the Nigerian students fleeing the war in Sudan. A Lagos State bus rapid transit driver, Oshimbanjo Uluwaseun, who collided with a moving train at Ikeja and allegedly killed 6 people, has been arraigned before an Ikeja High Court. The defendant was arraigned before Justice Oyindamola Ogala. Is facing 16 counts bordering on involuntary manslaughter and previous harm. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Babajide Martins, told the court that the PRT driver negligently killed the victims by ignoring warning signals and ran into an incoming train. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has denied reports of banning Indomie instant noodles and has assured consumers that the product is safe for consumption. Earlier, health officials in Malaysia and Taiwan had claimed to detect ethylene oxide, a carcinogenic substance responsible for lymphoid and breast cancer. People who installed the NHS COVID-19 app in England and Wales have been receiving alerts informing them the platform is now shut down. The app was launched in 2020 as a tool to help fight the spread of COVID-19 by warning citizens if they had been near to someone who was infected. It was downloaded around 30 million times during the pandemic. Scotland and Northern Ireland had their own versions, which have also now closed. Tesla Incorporated has raised prices in the range of up to $290 in Canada, China, Japan and the United States after having slashed prices on its top-selling vehicles since the start of the year. According to the company's website, the U.S. automakers raised the starting price point on the Model Y and Model 3 electric vehicles in the U.S. by $250. Chief Executive Elon Musk says the company would prioritize sales growth ahead of margins and look to profits later on the rollout of self-driving software for a larger fleet of vehicles. On the foreign scene, fierce fighting between rivals generals raged on in Sudan despite the latest truce, as warnings multiplied of a potential for a catastrophic humanitarian crisis with hundreds of thousands of refugees. In a virtual meeting with senior UN officials, Kenyan President William Ruto said the conflict had reached catastrophic levels, with the warring generals declining to heed the calls by the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, the African Union and the international community to cease fire. Ruto says it was imperative to find ways to provide humanitarian relief with or without a ceasefire. In sport, former Liverpool and Newcastle United striker Michael Owen has hailed Super Eagles Alex Iwobi After the Nigerians saved Everton from another defeat in the Premier League last night, the Nigerian international had made an error in the build-up to Leicester's goal scored by Jamie Vardy in the 33rd minute. But the former Arsenal midfielder redressed his mistake when he scored an important goal in the second half. And that's it from the newsroom. Many thanks for watching. Do join us at the top of the hour for more stories. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal. How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians have said in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
In terms of settling down, does age affect the chances of choosing the partner you want? In terms of settling down, does age affect the chances of choosing the partner you want?
It should be the choice. I think it should be the choice. In which way? Me as female, I date a younger person.
I feel
like
as a female, like, as in is age a factor in you deciding what you want?
Yeah, who you want
to get married to.
Meaning, can I get married to a younger man?
No. Like, for example, as you grow older, for example, now, your chances of getting who you really want becomes slim.
Okay.
I don't think it plays like that for a man.
For a man, yeah, it doesn't.
It's for a man.
But it's for a lady.
For ladies, I just feel like you don't. For ladies, you can say that yes, we have the, how do they say it? It's not in our favor. You get. It's more in guys' favor. You see guys in late 40s, just getting married, mid 50s. Yeah. But for women, you understand? They're like, oh, you think about your biological clock. You think, oh, maybe can she, still be able to have kids and everything. So you understand. So most times when they get to a particular age, they start getting pressed like, oh, like let me just look for one and just settle down or something. You get.
I even think like sort
just settle for anybody they say.
No,
not like they settle.
No, I'm just saying
they
that
don't.
for them.
It's just
I'm
that.
not saying that
It's just that. Like
older women settle now. They settle at the end of the day.
They don't. I don't think they're going to settle now. There is easy.
I was about to say like
you can freeze
modernization,
your
like
you freeze your eggs.
Yes, it's quite easier now.
It's quite easier now.
And again, people like have a liberal mind now.
Liberal mind, and even for now, now more people are more maybe because people are now more open, and then they, you know, civilization and everything. People are now seeing that you don't need to rush to anywhere. Do you understand? Actually. Okay, so and then because of what is even happening right now, like people in, I mean, considering marriages where people, you know, you rush in and then you rush out. People are like, no, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to wait to get married to the right person. You understand? I'm not negating the fact that some people are still rushing.
Yes, you are still taking your time.
Yeah, that's why.
That's why as a woman.
That's why I say.
I'm not saying that maybe she's trying to be picky, but like maybe I'm not saying maybe at that stage. That maybe she's saying, oh, I don't like this song. Oh, maybe for petty reason. I'm saying maybe at that stage, maybe she has not gotten anybody. She's not going to go and meet any random person and just go and.
But anybody that approaches her, she would agree.
Wrong.
No, that's what I'm saying. She's not just going to just because any random person comes to.
Yes.
So you think
she could. That's what I'm saying. Medicine has made things easier and science.
You can freeze
she
your
could
egg.
freeze her egg and she's not worried about her age
to
give birth.
Is that the only thing women worry about?
It's part of the thing. That's one of the major things in Nigeria.
That's one of the major things
in Africa.
That people worry about is their biological.
It's the truth.
Unless you don't want kids.
It's the main thing. Because in-laws, your in-laws will say, why won't marry this babe? She don't she don't feel give you picky, she don't give us grandchildren. So that's just
the only reason why you don't feel married.
I mean major thing. Now major thing for Nigeria.
But what of you?
Me, for an older woman. If I like the older woman, I'll get married to her. There are ways we could look for a child.
So if she's like 50, can you get married to her?
No, 50 is too much. There's a considerate age. I can't.
Considerate age? Yes,
no, it's the truth now.
The considerate age.
Huh?
45.
No. I'm going to be 34. Let's say a lady 40. Yes, I could.
6 years.
Yes, I could. But above that, that's...
What of 41?
No, I say, I'm telling you the age.
41, she just left now.
It's the same thing.
Even that 40,
you get
6 years difference.
So that's
Shay, what about you?
Almost is a no. Forget that.
Which age? Like what of a year older?
Maybe my max now 3 years. Max older. 3 years older. Max.
Everybody has his own this thing. So
max.
But you should at least consider 41. Should still.
The 41 I don't consider.
The 47 we go still talk well. You don't feel consider 40.
No, but 40 is cool for you.
It's cool.
6
but
years.
I just feel like the most important for men, the worry for them, for women, is the fact that, you know, one thing they're scared about is their biological clock.
Yeah.
Menopause and all those kind of things. Do you understand? We all know that is aside. If you're not worried about it, that means maybe you don't want to have kids.
Exactly. Maybe you just want to adopt,
or you want to adopt, or you want to do surrogacy. If you've frozen your eggs, you understand. So that's just the thing.
But you know another funny thing in Africa that we made it look like as if it's a woman thing. It also affects men. Getting married at a very...
It doesn't affect men as much.
I want to explain to you what I mean by it affects.
Wait.
I'm not saying men
drop their standards.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying this. You imagine you getting married as a guy. You're wasting time. You're getting married at 40, 45. So let's say by the time your child will be...
Wait, doesn't mean that it was wasting time.
I'm not saying you're wasting time. I'm saying you're taking time. Wait. That is it's still the same thing. We're only just talking about ladies at this thing. Okay, you're taking time, and then you finally get married or get settled at 40 or 45. So by the time your first child will be like 10 years, you're 55 years. So when would you stay to enjoy your kid?
As in,
you still enjoy him now.
Like how? As in you're already old. Is it at your old age you want to enjoy your kid? or at a younger age.
Like
so people get married as
early
as 25 and they don't have any 45, 50.
What would they do?
That's it. That one is a different case. That one is a different case.
I'm just saying that.
And even at that part is because maybe they've not explored other options to get kids, or maybe they don't have the means to get kids.
Yes, so you want to tell me that?
And people have tried IVF how many times?
Even if you don't work, then you adopt.
We all know how adoption is in Nigeria. Adoption is very, very, as in, the process is long.
Tedious.
And which is one of the things that people are really speaking out about. That
the process long, you see,
which is one of the things that they're talking
about.
It's so difficult. People are saying it's very, and that's why people are saying that's why people go for that baby factory thing. That because of the
yes, doing it the legal way is stressful. Yes,
doing the legal way is very stressful. It will take you a year before they.
Yes.
Wow. Why do you think baby factory?
Papers upon papers. That's why baby factory is easier. You just go and get the thing easily with your money.
Under 1 year, you're done.
Now this one even with your money. Yeah.
For years, 5 years, they've not given you child.
One.
As you used to be on, and it doesn't mean that you even get it though. Do you understand? And that is why baby factory is moving.
It's moving.
And people are really speaking up now. I don't know. People are really speaking on that. Nigeria, the government should do something about adoption. They should make sure the process is easy. Do you understand?
They just have so many children there,
so that you can get rid of all this baby factory springing up everywhere and there. Do you understand?
Well, I don't think a man's standard drops. So even no matter how old he gets at the end of the day, because you see, a man is, especially if he's not rich, but let me say well-to-do. The guy is well-to-do. His standard will not drop.
I think he settled.
I still want a slim babe. I still want a fair
I think he settled.
I
think he settled.
He settled.
Do you know why?
Wait,
men settle.
Even when they are not even old.
Men don't
settle. Yes.
Even when they are not old.
Yes. Let me tell you how it works. Like when they are serious, and they're active, when they are serious,
especially when their parents are on their neck.
Yes, they settle.
Before you know, they say, I didn't like her. She got pregnant for me.
Corey, like when they're still very young.
Those days that
when they're still very young, when they're still very young and playful and they're still in the field and all, they do this girl. That's when they even have spec. When it's time to settle and they be doing that thing, they settle.
Yeah. When it's time to settle down.
Settle down. Yes. They settle.
They
settle for anything.
They don't settle. They pick who pays them the most. No, it's not settle.
That's when they settle.
I don't think that I buy with what they're saying.
No, I don't buy with it.
You know why? Because let me explain to you something.
How can you say guys?
I've had guys. Let me explain something to you. I've had guys that.
You won't be like this one ended up with this one.
When they were dating, they were like, oh, if I want to marry, see this kind of babe now, this kind of babe, this. And then finally, while they were dating, they had those kind of girls, those classic girls. And then when they're finally ready to settle, you just see the girl and they're like, I don't see why.
I
like guy. How far now? But nobody this kind of person.
Yes.
Like what's happen?
What the guy go reply you?
He'll tell you saying a person way I just won't deal with. Now like that person will make me happy.
Bam!
You don't drop the standard.
No, drop the standard.
Drop the standard. You drop am. Because before you talk say my standard.
Yeah, wait till you talk.
He
say na person. Yeah, wait till you talk now. He say na person where I like.
He don't drop the standard. He drop in standard because
it just be like say wait. It just be like say everybody knows say I like beans. I like beans. Person can't give me ewa going. I can't chop ewa going. You can't say but you talk say na normal beans. Like why can't they eat ewa going? I see say I like this one. Pass this one. It don't mean say I settle. It means I prefer this one to even this one. No, you don't settle. It was his choice.
Because before he talk say see what I want. Okay, let me use physical attribute. I want babe wey get big butt, babe wey get say they won't come marry slim babe.
Maybe the sleep.
Maybe we're black. Maybe and before now 5 years we get big
butt.
But Iman, calm down. If he be say he see something for that slim babe. When you know
but he makes him say he compromise standard.
No, he not compromise. He upgrade himself. He not be compromise.
You know what?
Not be compromise. No. Not think am like that. He not compromise anything.
Okay, so why is he chasing? Why is he flirting with that his spec outside?
They will not be like,
why is he flirting with his spec?
His spec outside.
Yes.
They will not be like, look at it.
Like you get.
Like after you not come marry that one, you still flirt.
You will not be flirting with his spec outside.
See that one?
Why?
That's a different topic that we cannot delve into now.
Okay, good.
Men naturally, no matter what,
they like
are promiscuous by nature.
Okay. How? Who
we have discussed this issue.
We don't discuss them before. Now I say more no delve into this thing deeply. More no delve into them deeply.
Let's not go into it.
There is a very high probability for a man, even a married man, to still look outside at the end of the day. Because men, our eye know they stay one place. Now so it be. No, not a loose man. Now so it be. It takes the grace of God, serious grace of God, serious grace of God for a man.
Religious belief.
I did tell you,
if not because of religious belief, if not because of religious belief, and then some form of morality, no be lie. Virtually all men.
Oh, that's like inbuilt, inbuilt.
I'm not saying it's inbuilt.
So why is it there now? So why is it there? Why is it there?
It's not.
I agree. It is inbuilt. It just depends on the man's character and the way he's willing to discipline himself.
That's where I want to come from.
And the percentage of men who are willing to discipline themselves that way is very, 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 very low.
So you're trying to tell me
I'm not saying there are such men that exist.
No, like you're trying to say it's a natural thing. So it now takes a man with extra effort to actually overcome that natural
thing. Yes, it's true. Very, very true.
Very true. Very true, Korodi.
What I want to say is that all this one that you're saying men.
Human, let's not leave the main topic.
That's human as a woman too, as a man.
That thing is there.
Nature to want to I don't know how to say
explore.
So let's come back to the main topic.
As a personal, it's just like, do you not think of bad things?
Yes, we all do.
We all do.
Good.
Do you do them?
No. So it's not gender based.
So it's not gender based.
What's the ratio of married women who cheat?
No, that's
like no, wait. Like to you, like how many percentage of married women?
See,
no, like
women
based on the experiences the little experience you have from what you've seen so far.
Yes, ratio of women to men.
What me I've been hearing, I think it's even 50-50 or 60-40.
No, right now, yes, because right now before. Let's use before.
Yes. Because people are like, oh, this thing, you know, as a married woman. Maybe it was like 30 to or 40 to 60, you understand? But now with what is going on, with what we are hearing out there.
Whoa, true. You just wake up and all your kids are not even your own, and you think you're being cheated.
Yeah. So that's why I said that it's not gender based. That cheating thing is not gender based.
It's just
not
that.
Like this thing. But you as an individual, you're going to make the decision and no, I don't want to cheat. And that was why I gave the example that we all think of bad things in our, by ourselves. Do you understand? But do we all do we do that? No.
It doesn't mean that me.
Because we have it's an inbuilt. We have the morality that corrects that no, you cannot do this.
No, not really.
Okay, so let's go back to the main topic.
Not really.
We need to discuss.
Let's come back to the main topic.
Discuss that later, but not really.
To the main topic.
I don't agree with you.
Now we're coming back to the main topic.
The main topic. Back to the main topic. I was saying that men don't drop their standards no matter how old they get.
They do.
If men drop their standards, you won't see 60-year-old men getting married to 20-something-year-old babes.
Wrong.
They do.
You won't see 40-something-year-old.
Wait, do you think he's getting married to 20-year-old girl because
that's the say you get money like that, but you go say I go marry better 26-27-year-old babe. Where you go look and say, guy, how you think get this babe?
No.
Are you trying to say the guy? Men don't settle.
Men settle.
Men settle a lot.
Men settle a lot.
What I would say is
now, like,
the preference for men change. So not that they settle.
Why are we using the prediction? Why are we changing? Why are we like settle and preference?
No.
Why are we saying settle and preference?
Settling
what influences preference?
When it comes to men, it's preference. When it comes to women, it's settling. Yeah.
Why is the diction changing for men and women?
No. Men settle, women settle.
Why is the language changing?
Men don't settle.
Men settle more than women.
Hey! Stop it!
I don't even know that one. But I know that men settle.
Men.
Kai, Erica, stop it. Kai! Stop that.
Men settle.
That's the
men settle.
I feel men.
Do you know that it's appalling? It's appalling how they settle.
Now our taste.
It's appalling. It's appalling how they settle.
Turning towards what you said. I think
it's appalling how men settle. Like to the last. No boxes are ticked. They just settle.
Okay, wait. John. Let me ask you a question now. You know a guy now, for example, that he's always carrying fine babes every time. He date 5 babes. He punch fine babe. Then he can't talk say he won't marry. You can't say the wife he won't marry ugly. To you, he settled, Abi? Yes or no?
He settled now.
Because he don't carry fine babes. But when he won't come marry, now ugly baby carry.
He settled because he will not go and be cheating on her. He settled.
He will not go and be cheating on
So what's the use of him settling when he still has those fine babes at his beck and call. Doesn't that tell you he didn't settle?
That tells me
when
that he's
see, when we are talking of settling, no, it's not confused. No. See, when we are talking of settling, we are saying this guy does not have a choice again. He just has to make do with what he has. That's my own understanding of settling. That he not get any choice. No other person there for him except this person. So but these other people still there. That is not settling. He made his choice. He decided, oh, I've seen all this fine baby.
Really?
Now this ugly one I want
pick. That's not what. That's not settling.
They be like, oh, time don't they go.
Like, guys, she don't disturb me. Almost. And now this girl agree. Like, no time.
That's not settling. It's settling. That's not settling. That's not settling. Because the guy, you know, go carry person where you know like put for house now. Still set. You man you go carry person where you know like put for house, even if they pressure you.
Plenty guys don't do them now.
When they know like for anything.
Yes. Like a kind of like let's say like let me use one. Let me use one. Wait, let me use one. Or I know there's a royal family. And the rule of the royal family. Wait, not the same thing. Wait, and the rule of the royal family is any girl when you give belle outside. Yes, you have to marry him by force. That's still settling.
No, that was different. I'm talking of an instance where a guy has a choice.
What about guys?
No family obligation. No cultural obligation.
And then the girl ended up getting pregnant, and then they were like, "Oh, there's nothing you can do. You have to marry our daughter."
Who says so? And they will not force the guy to marry her.
Doesn't happen. Say it doesn't happen.
No, I know it happens.
So what were you trying to say?
I know it happens, but that one you can't. Well, maybe you can say it's settled, based on what happened. Based on what happened. It is based on what happened that it's settled.
However you want to spin it.
You're trying to streamline. You're trying to box this conversation. You're trying to streamline. You're talking choices. You're talking settling side by side choices. These are certain actions that they have carried out that influence their choice to settle.
Wait, John, let me ask you. Let me ask you this question now. When someone is settling, when you say someone settles, does that person have a choice or not? Does he have a pool to pick from?
In some cases, yes.
Yes.
And he settles.
Yes, and he settles.
Yes.
That's not true.
Yes. That is true.
When someone settles, it means you don't have a choice. You just have to pick that person. You talk say this person give person belle. He no get choice. They don't tell him say you must marry him. You must marry him. He no get choice.
He had a girlfriend, but he just had a one-night stand.
And the girl now got pregnant. Yes, he doesn't have a choice because he
himself,
I'm sure, his family members, all of them would have already told him that, oh, Benny, you don't give this girl belle. You must marry her. He doesn't have a choice.
No,
as far as he is concerned. But what I'm saying is, you can't compare it with a guy now. Where we say the example I gave earlier. You have fine babes. He now went to carry an ugly babe.
It happens.
He made his choice that okay, I don't want any of this fine babe. I want this one.
Why? Meanwhile,
probably he saw that this one will be a good wife. She'll give me peace of mind. She'll be able to cook for me. She will answer to my beck and call, unlike all these other ones. And he decided to choose her. That is not settling.
Okay, so what's okay?
He made his choice.
So what is happening? What is going on in marriages whereby the men they were like, I didn't even like her, I just married her because she was just available.
Yes.
What's going on there?
Because she was available.
Yes.
I've not heard that one before.
You have not heard because she was available.
You will not hear
like I just married the girl.
I married the girl because she was available.
Yes, I've even seen a scenario
I know
like
you
that.
say you've not heard it before.
No, I'm not honest. I've not heard it. That she was just available. I don't understand.
Available to be married.
Available to be married. That's why I not married her.
There's no certainty that because you have a particular spec or something, it doesn't mean that you are going to eventually find somebody to get married to.
Men settle.
Women settle. I agree that women settle. Because to a certain extent, they don't have that luxury of a choice to pick and say,
why?
Wow, you think
as they age,
most times, let me tell you something. Shut up. Yes. Yes, they do.
Yes.
Let me tell you something.
I'm not talking.
Some of those girls, do you think that maybe they don't have any girl that is asking them out? It's because they probably just not seen their choice.
Aging.
Yes.
At 36.
Yes.
Because they've not seen their choice.
Yes. 45.
Why is it impossible?
What are you talking about?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's not as if maybe there's nobody asking. It's just somewhere it's shady.
Don't let these girls
No.
We already won comfort. Don't let them win you, please. No.
I've seen it play out.
I've seen it play out. Make any sense. So what you're trying to say that when you're 45, you cannot get married again?
Who? As a woman.
35, 36,
you don't have
37.
you don't have the luxury.
You do. You have a choice.
You do.
You don't.
You do.
You can make a choice.
You
can reject proposals.
It's a lie.
You reject proposals.
Yes.
You go dead there at 45. You go dead there. You go old.
Society.
See, let me tell you something.
You go old at 45. Any man will come meet that woman. She go marry.
At 45, there are some men you can't get married to. Even at 45,
I'm saying, but at that point, you don't see.
You know what?
Emmanuel,
I think the image of the lady you are painting is maybe 13th century or something.
Yeah,
if you're thinking of modern women these days, you cannot be talking like this.
They will not care.
In Africa.
They would rather remain
in Africa, Nigeria. It's not true.
Now lie.
It's not true.
Don't say that.
Now lie.
Now lie. To that part, yes.
Now lie.
It's
a lie. We have not reached. We have not gotten to that point.
Are you kidding me?
In Nigeria, we have not. My dear, we have not.
We have.
Whoa.
I don't understand
why you're kidding me.
It's just the few ones that people are looking up to as celebrity.
We kidded you now.
I'm not
talking about celebrity. I don't agree.
These are not even celebrities. These are not even celebrities.
The image of women you are painting in your mind is affecting you.
There's nothing like that. I said your family cannot even allow you at that stage.
They don't allow you. Say make you just stay.
How many women do you think can stand family pressure? How many? Can you stand? Even you.
Yes, I can.
You've not faced it.
Yes,
if you faced it, you will know.
Yes, I can.
Once you get to that point, I'll know if you can.
Man can face it. Man can. A man will face pressure.
You not face family pressure. Can you face family pressure?
Men don't know how to stand pressure.
Hey, Jesus!
Men! Especially when they are bomb.
Joanne keeps shooting this bomb this evening. Boom.
Men do not like
this one. Boom. If you are talking of anybody that stands pressure.
Please.
If you're talking about that stands pressure.
Easily succumb. They could have been dating a girl for like 10 years and then
before
their mom comes and says, look, and they cannot be like, my mom is on my neck, she's standing on my neck, I can't help me. And please, she wants her, she found her, and they'll be like, I said, you don't be like, are you telling me that you cannot stand and defend our relationship? You don't understand how my mom is. Men cannot stand pressure. Men cannot stand pressure.
Now women that thing they catch the most now. Not men.
Women are more strong.
I don't this to call this thing. What do you used to call it? My mom said in Igbo. Name C or something. Mom C. This thing. My mom said.
You
and now Brahman. And I was my mom said.
One Igbo man told me that. Oh shit.
Women are more strong-hearted than men. Men do not have the wherewithal to
especially when their moms start coming to tell them that see this woman, she's not from the
city woman.
She's a city woman that will come
that will not be following other men. Look how she's dressing.
See how she's dressing.
No, but you not be like, but I've been dating her.
It's like picture people are painting is the 13th century picture.
Modern men, look at them. Modern men like you and Sheyi. Modern men.
Like which me and Sheyi from where?
Can you stand your mom's pressure?
My mom's pressure.
Can you stand her pressure?
My dear, see.
If she stands on your neck, can you stand?
Well, let me tell you. I quarreled with my parents for months. I wasn't picking their call because of a babe. Not from my side.
I'm very firm about my beliefs and my thoughts, and I stand by them, regardless of pressure.
Really?
Yes.
You can face your family.
Yes, because I want my best interest.
Even when your family say they will disown you.
No. Disown me. One. They will not even say they will disown me. Two.
Why?
Disown me to what?
Because you don't want to say what
like disown me to
no,
it's not even possible. You can't disown me because
let's just say you're from that kind of family. No, let's work with that.
For the sake of argument purposes.
Well, I'm not from that
kind of family. You need to think about it. You need to think about it. If you're from that kind of
See, guy, if you're firm-hearted, you'll be able to influence their opinions. You will be able to influence their opinions.
You will work with what we've said, or else we'll disown you.
To where? Cotonou?
Canada.
We're Africans. You can't do it without your family.
Whoa. Yes. Whoa. You
see, like this one against self, you could not agree for the family.
Proven. You see what I was telling you? Proven. Just hear what Emmanuel said.
I'm not telling you that you should not defend, but I'm saying, can you do it without your family?
Proven.
You know the place of a family.
Proven.
So what you're trying to tell
so you're saying that they're not toxic families? Like they're not toxic families. And today their parents
accepted that. But the ratio to men is lower.
My dear.
No, wrong.
Men go against their parents the most than women.
It's difficult to find a man that is actually willing to go.
What he's saying is the truth. Let's not argue it. Let's not argue it.
It's difficult to find a man.
It's even the men that especially when they are mom.
Crazy.
Start saying.
Especially when they are mom. They'll just say.
You see the women. I'm not saying some women can't be pressured. I'm not saying that they are. But don't come and say that a lot of women, they will just
give in
like that and say that, okay, I want to marry. They will elope. What you're trying to say
is that woman will stand
fact,
like
women there's so many times they'll be like, oh, I'll force my family because they never even supported the marriage.
Exactly.
Like there's no, it's just me and my husband and my
exactly. Do you know that I actually know about a woman like that. So she actually fought. Her family were so wealthy, and then this guy, she actually liked him from her program. So she liked the guy, and her family, they vehemently. Do you know, like she left that city they were in. She relocated with that man against, like, for a year. Even when she gave birth to her first child, like it was later, like they came around, like she still tells her story, and she's like, I stood by this man. Like it's not as if today he's like anything, like they're just fine. But still, like, you can actually see the fact that, okay, she's willing to go all out 100. Those women. That woman.
Do you know how many guys have done the same thing?
You know how many guys have done the same thing you are saying? Eh?
Do you know how many guys?
Now, guys know they even send family safe.
No.
They bullshit family anyhow.
It's a lie.
This thing is saying. This thing is saying.
Do you know the only part? Do you know the only time that men bullshit family are not is to engage in peer pressure? When it comes to the real thing, nothing.
I'm telling you, you don't know.
That's why she doesn't know.
Nothing. I said, I'm so sad.
For her to say that it's only when it comes to peer pressure, that's when men flex muscle.
That's when you flex muscle.
It's to the family that men.
You never see when man they climb papa and mama. Say I don't want to see people in my house.
Simple.
And what are you saying?
Yes. Yes.
Those ones are in the movies.
No,
which movies?
Which movie?
Which movie?
African Magic.
Even this one you said is in African Magic now.
Showcase.
Where that she left her parents.
She left her parents and went to
that time. Only in
African Magic.
African Magic now. African
What's the name of the
epic precisely. And most times the girl's name is Caro.
Hey!
Caro or Scholastica.
Honestly speaking.
But you guys, the good thing is that you know the truth.
What truth?
The good thing is that.
Back to the topic. I just know that it's not. There's nothing like it's only female that settles.
I say it's only female. It's only female.
Men settle.
Wait, are you actually saying that it's only females that settle?
No, the both gender settle.
I don't.
Wait.
Some men may settle, maybe 2%.
May settle. May settle. Really?
You would never.
Shay, really?
Before you know it.
Before you see a guy that settles,
you've not met guys that settle?
It is the guy's
Have you met guys? Have you met guys that
what he prefers?
Oh, suddenly his preference, when he got married to the woman, then his preference rebranded. There was a rebranding.
You know when a guy settles, like the example you guys gave, maybe for example, he impregnated someone, and then the family said you must marry her. He has to settle for that one. But not when
some people
a guy is still 30.
You're not even be like, why did you now marry this girl?
Exactly.
He will pick his spec.
Do you understand?
Why did you marry
pick
this
his spec now?
You'll be hearing things after a week of marriage.
Why did you marry this girl?
They're fighting. They never even show this.
Like, why?
And
he's already like.
It's due to other factors. It's not because he settled.
No.
It's due to other factors.
It's because he settled.
Probably he didn't know her character before. When he got in, he had now seen some.
He didn't know her character, but his preference changed. But he didn't know her character. I thought it was character that made him settle.
No, I didn't say it's character that made him settle.
So after
This is only
so
character.
one week that you now saw her character. Before the wedding, you didn't see her character. After that one,
her character adjusted. There was a shift.
Do you think you will know the character of your husband 100%?
Okay.
Yes or no? No, answer yes or no.
Who is talking 100%?
Will you know the character of your husband?
Does he know his character 100%?
Wait.
Even him, he doesn't.
They always don't.
Even him, he doesn't know his character 100%.
Will you know the character of your husband 100%?
You can never know anybody's character.
So what are you saying? What am I saying?
But you should know enough. You should know enough for the marriage to be sustained.
You yourself. You cannot even know
your character, Sheyi.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
So you cannot know anybody's character.
So what you're just saying now?
But no, you should know. You should know enough. You should know.
What you're saying does not make sense.
You should know enough.
You
should know enough.
just said now that have you not heard of situations where some people get married and after 1 week, 2 weeks they are fighting? I said maybe because when they got married, the guy discovered some vices she had that he did not know before. And you are tackling me on that. And you just agreed with me that you cannot know a person's character 100%. So what are you saying?
I didn't agree with you. I said when you ask them, they'll be like, oh, it wasn't as if I liked that. I just wanted to get married to just
exactly.
Now lie. Now woman they talk that one. Not be man they talk that one. Now woman they talk that one. It's a lie. It's not no guy will say that. No guy will say that. That I just married her. No, it's not possible.
You know,
I just married her. That what? No. I don't believe. I don't believe in that.
Just calm down.
Do you know what I'm saying? You cannot have issues. You cannot have issues in marriage after 1 week. And I know that you cannot know somebody's character 100%. I mean, people don't even know themselves 100%. But you should know enough to sustain the marriage. Like, why 1 week? Like, I don't get how will you get married in 1 week and then you just scatter and then you tell me character. And again, remember you talked about.
Are you saying all those people that their marriage scatter after 1 week is because they settled? Is that what you're saying?
No, Shay.
No, I just wanted to clear that.
Shay, do you know what? Okay. Do you know the thing is that with this whole marriage thing, you can't just pinpoint and say this is that. But the thing is, when we're talking about settling, there are actually guys that just get married. You never even be like, wow, see, like, why isn't it?
You understand?
Me, I beg, I just want to marry, like, no time, I just want to marry. Like,
wait, I just want to marry person we are not like.
I just want to, obviously.
Shay, what you're trying to say is
obviously, that's it.
Wait.
I just want to marry,
guys. Because I just want to marry.
I just want to marry.
Man, just carry this one and put inside house.
Speak for yourself. You can't just say that, oh, it cannot happen. Speak for yourself.
Exactly.
You cannot marry someone that you don't like. You cannot say every guy out there.
Guys will not marry somebody they don't like. No guy will marry somebody he does not like.
How can you say?
It's not possible.
How can you say no guy?
No guy. I'm telling you. He's married. He must see something where he like. Either maybe the babe get money or her family get money or something. You can't tell me that a guy will not marry someone that he does not like.
He doesn't like at all.
No. Don't tell me that. Now women they do that one because they don't look and say I need to. All my mates are married. Me too. I want to be married. Even if the let it shall be a man. It shall put me in his house.
80% of men marry people they don't like.
80 what?
30.
You are an arm robber.
Up to 30%.
You are a bandit. You are a bandit. You are a bandit. What?
They are happy marriages. Yes, and it doesn't change the fact that
it doesn't mean that because
for women,
you understand
I agree.
It doesn't mean that because they are in an unhappy marriage.
What you're saying.
That now means that.
You know what you guys do? You just pick a part of the whole thing I've been saying, and then now say,
do you mean that? Do you mean that what?
Quote me not. What I am
Why
saying.
shouldn't we quote you when you are saying it?
See, don't take it out of context. That's what I'm saying.
Talk.
Put it. Don't come and say, do you now mean that happy marriages are cause marrying people that you not like? No, I did not say it.
So what did you say? What did you say?
Please.
Speak for yourself.
I'm speaking for the men race
Because
I'm a representative of the men, and I'm saying it here now, and I will keep saying it.
And Sheyi, you will settle.
Me, it's not possible. It's not possible.
You'll be like, what? Like it's shocking. Oh my guy, I just need to say no time.
Now I can't carry ugly woman put for house.
No one is talking about ugly or something. No one is talking about no one is.
Or he just carry somebody he does not like.
Exactly.
Exactly. Now you're getting the point.
Let me just marry her.
Now you're getting the point.
In the long run, you get to like her. Probably.
I don't know about that one.
That one, if it happen,
can happen, bro.
If it happen, I'm not doubting that one. I'm not disputing that one. But what I'm saying is
that there must have been a
he go get something when the guy like
something, yes.
He chose her. It's not as if
he
didn't have a choice. He chose her.
Exactly. Do you know what she is trying to do?
You know something? Some guys, they feel pick ugly woman. Say they won't marry this ugly woman because they know. Say if I put her for house, if I say sit down,
my peace they guarantee.
My peace, you don't get my point. So it's not as if he didn't have a choice. He could have decided to go for that figure 8 and put her in his house or another person. But because he don't know, say even put figure 8, if you don't tell her, make she sit down, make she sit down.
So
he decided to go for someone that he will talk to and that person will listen to him.
So are you saying
he had choices to make. He had options.
Yes.
When you're talking of settling, the person who get choice.
Are you saying now that? Are you saying now that for women? Let me just wait. Are you saying that for women now? For a woman now, when she's of age and all, even if she's
36, 37,
even if she sees a man that is raw, everybody know him, he's a tough, she'll just be like, oh, my time is going and it's only this man that
let me go. Say she won't marry him, she go marry him.
It's a lie.
I don't think it's
a lie.
I don't think
it's a lie.
I don't buy it.
What do you even think? What do you even
think?
Exactly. I think you know one thing I'm going to say that kind of women Sheyi rolls with. It's all those kind of women.
The
that,
kind of
you know,
who?
the kind of women.
You are a bandit. you are a bandit.
Yeah. You're wondering. Who are you meeting?
Wait.
Why
would they hype on herself?
Who are you meeting?
Why would they hype?
I don't think women has
Why would I
choices.
hype myself?
You might say,
If you're meeting women
that
of this
probably
age.
maybe before they get to that stage, they say maybe they want a guy that has too much money or all of this. But once they get to that part, they now like, okay, this one doesn't have, but he has this.
But he has this.
Even men are being realistic.
That's what I'm saying. It's
You
the same
move
thing.
from a place of
Everybody.
fantasy to a place of reality.
Yes. Women.
Everybody moves from a place of fantasy.
Exactly.
Everybody. They toast to. Now man they toast woman. Now woman they toast man.
It's a liberal.
The two. Now you might ask questions.
The two.
Please hush, please.
Okay.
Talk to the hand. I'm talking to you. Am
He has answered.
I talking to you? I ain't talking to you. Hush.
Anybody that likes you,
woman they
ask
toast
out.
man.
Yes.
You don't see where woman toast man.
Yes.
Okay, wait. Oh yeah. If person want engage person, propose. Who they propose?
Okay, you didn't say proposal.
Calm down.
You didn't say proposal. You said toast.
Man, answer my
You said toast.
Oh yeah, I don't come out. Oh yeah, I don't come out toast.
Oh yeah, where you don't enter.
Propose.
For propose.
You don't ever see a woman will propose to man say, will you marry me?
No.
Good.
But she go feel initiator.
Thank you.
She feel initiator.
initiator.
She feel no bring the ring nail down.
okay,
And the man duty to do her.
So
propose.
if she initiate him, that's if she they give the man clue, abi.
Yes.
They make the man propose.
Yes.
To her. So whose choice is it to make the proposal?
The guy now.
Good. What am I trying to say now?
That
it is the guy that makes the choice, not the woman that makes the choice.
Women still make choice.
How does she make the choice? She cannot predict who will propose to her now.
No, but she still has.
It just be like say woman now. I date woman now, for example. Okay, she likes me. She wants me to propose to her. I can decide not to propose to her.
And that one a different ball game.
No, be
but
different
she
ball game.
choose say now this kind of person I go like one day with.
Bam. Now me where she like, I not propose to him. But another guy did. She not too like the guy. That one propose to him. And she don't be 38, 39.
And you think she's
You think say she don't go accept that guy proposal?
No,
she go there wait for me.
She will not.
Let's be factual.
In this part,
let's be sincere.
I feel she's going to accept this one because if this guy is wasting time.
Your opinion.
No, it's not his opinion.
No. He's not speaking for us. No. She doesn't.
And she's saying that this guy is not going to say anything.
Wait, at what time?
What do you mean at what time?
At what time?
This one that is proposing. This one that is proposing is responsible.
No. Then you're saying she's settled.
Desperate.
Then you're still saying she's settled.
Yeah, she's settled now. That's what we are saying.
She's settled.
That women
scenario.
Remember, Sheyi, do you know what you're doing? Do you know you're doing that thing again? Sheyi, you're doing that thing again. That thing you always do. You bring a scenario and then you rope all the conversation into that. This is one scene. Sheyi,
I just gave you an example.
That's
you
what
said
I
bring a scenario.
You want to say
bring that scenario. I know what you're doing, but this is one. Let's even agree. This is even one scene.
Exactly.
And you're not saying that women don't settle.
Give me another scene. Give me another scene.
You say all women.
Give me another scene.
So what you're trying to tell me that all women that are 40.
Any woman that is above 37 would definitely settle. For any man, she says.
No, she will not.
So if she sees a drug or a drug addict or a mafia,
she will say she will change him. She will say she will change him.
She will not. Let me tell you. She will not. She's going to make her change.
Controversial. Lie. She don't go do like that.
She's going to make her choice.
She'll change the mafia.
I don't believe that.
She'll say she'll change the mafia.
She'll say she'll change him.
You're even saying mafia. So you're telling me that a well-to-do woman.
Now woman language be that. So I will change him. Don't worry. When we get married, we will change.
Which one you're trying to
tell me that a woman of let me say high caliber, or do you understand? She's working. She's making her own money. She's big.
Yeah.
She's not just. She's going to go and marry a riffraff just because she's 40.
She will touch him up.
No, she will not.
She will touch him up.
She will not.
She has the money. She will touch him up.
She has the money to go and marry a riffraff. Let me
Are
tell you.
you saying it's not happening?
I'm not saying it's not happening,
So what are you
but I'm
saying?
just saying that it's not in all cases.
Exactly.
That one,
Korede.
because she has decided to marry the riffraff.
Korede.
That is her own.
A woman is 38.
So she's just going to settle.
She no see person say, will you marry me? She can't see one guy. One guy just come on from nowhere.
Riffraff. One riffraff.
Let's even use your language, your words.
Yes.
Riffraff.
Yes.
Where you don't get money, you don't get car, you don't get anything.
The
guy she can't see say. The guy is not.
This guy go give him peace.
This guy go give him peace.
So because he's a guy,
listen, the guy will give
the guy not propose to her. She will not say, no, I won't marry him.
He said, he's going to give me peace. He's going to make a good
I'll wait for Prince Charming.
Let me wait.
Even if you don't go give him peace.
I'm not talking about giving it. giving her peace. I'm not talking about giving her peace. I'm talking about maybe just a random person that she doesn't even have anything for, or someone that.
Except because before they get to that stage of actually knowing if she'll give him peace or not.
I don't think a lady will settle for that kind of person.
If you said this 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I would agree.
But today,
no.
She tell the girls like Corey that stubborn.
No lie, all this thing I lie, John. What did they tell me?
No.
When pressure hits them well, they go know what's in the happen.
What are you trying to tell me that they are not women that take care that are not married?
A woman is 38, 39. When we say she gets serious respect for her family, she will come talk say, no, I'm an independent woman. Independent waiting.
People that you
my friend go and marry. What are you saying?
See.
I don't need to argue with you honestly because you're actually
let me explain something to you.
I already understand
what they are saying is the truth. See,
I roll with you.
When
you don't roll with me,
I roll with.
You don't roll with me.
I will not call
I roll with you.
I will not call a bank I roll
with
with back in the days. One of our branch manager then, as at then I knew that she was close to 38. Since then till now, she should be in her late 40s. She's still not married. She get money pieces. Like, now baby go stay Saturday, just say, at the go London, I will go watch Arsenal match. Now die hard Arsenal fan. She get mad money.
Why you think she never married?
She don't marry up to now. Are they telling you?
No, man.
So are men not coming to her?
No, men they come. Men they come.
Maybe
she don't see.
Why you think
she probably doesn't want to settle?
Maybe she don't see the kind of person she can
want. That's even it.
Don't say she don't get pressure.
I'll tell you why she's not married.
Why she not married?
She doesn't see herself under a man. That's why she's not married. It's not as if she don't see. It's sure for me, she go they punch some of those ones where they come to stand. They go, they do them on a low key. But she doesn't see herself submitting to a man. That's why she's still not married. That's why she's not married. It's not as if she has not seen her spec.
Is this not choice? Is this not choice? Wait, Corey, is this not choice?
It's not choice.
So it's not choice.
She decided to stay unmarried. She doesn't want to be under a man.
Is it not choice? It's a choice. It's a choice.
The choice we are talking of here is choice of picking a woman, picking a man. No, it's not choice.
It's not choice.
It's not choice.
You're defining choice. You're giving choice your own definition.
Madam, it is not choice.
No, that's what you're doing.
And I will explain why it is not choice. Can I explain?
No, you
can I explain?
No,
you cannot. Do I have the floor to explain?
No, you don't have the floor.
Okay, then
just allow him to explain.
Do I have
allow him to explain?
Can I explain,
please? Yes, you can explain.
Can I please explain?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you very much. Now, when I say it's not choice, this is why I say it's not choice.
You just be changing
this is a woman
that. If this was a man now, is it choice?
Wait,
if this was a man, if it was a man now, remove the woman. You say it's choice.
If it's a man,
you say it's choice.
Let's listen now. Let's listen to him.
Toxic masculinity.
Wait,
if it was a woman,
let's listen to him first now.
If it was a man,
you say he chose.
That was in this scenario now. I won't say he chose. What I'm going to say is,
you don't see him being under a woman.
That is his person. He doesn't want to get married.
But this is not her person.
No, that is her own person too. She doesn't want to get married.
But she can't stay under a man.
It's different from I don't want to get married to someone who is not my spec. Get the point I'm making.
That is
there are two parallel lines. No, listen. There are two parallel lines. Just listen very well. Just listen. Don't worry, babe. Listen. Two parallel lines. I don't want to get married at all. Even if I see my spec. That's one line. Even if I see my spec, I don't want to get married at all. That is one. There is another woman that says, oh, I want to get married, but it must be my spec. There are two different things.
So these two things.
This one is said now. This one is said now. She doesn't want to get married, even if she sees.
Oh, she told you that
a millionaire, someone that has money more than her, a Prince Charming. She will still not marry.
It's a lie. It's a
lie. Okay, let's agree.
Let's agree.
She will not get married.
It's a lie. That girl, she said he wants to marry, and she said no. I don't want to marry.
Well, like a woman like that, I'm telling you, she won't get married to you.
Oh my God.
She has her own money. She's a career woman. What does she need a man for?
Thank you.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, my darling.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
No.
It's still choice. It's still choice. When you start saying, I do not want, when want is involved, it's choice.
It's choice.
It's still choice.
Related to the topic we're discussing, we said as women age, do their choice of a partner drop? That's what we are discussing. We are not talking about do they settle. We are not talking of a woman that has decided that she doesn't even want to get married at all.
Whatever.
But do they settle?
See.
This woman and did she settle?
See.
For who?
for any of the men that have been coming because of
in his example.
Yes.
She didn't settle for anybody now. She's not willing to pick anybody.
But she does not have family that is pressurizing her.
She can decide and say, "Oh no,
sir,
I don't want to get married. It's not.
But
I don't want to get married."
Her, my friend, go marry.
No, yeah, they can tell her to go and get married.
Oh,
and she will tell them that, "Oh, I don't want to get married."
These are the women that we want in your mind. When you are taking all the 20th century women, we want this kind of women.
How many of them? How many women of today can decide and say, "I'm not going to get married in this life"? How many?
That was why I said that question. That if you said what you said, if you said it 15, 20 years ago, I would agree. But now, in this
are you saying that now babes are willing to stay unmarried for the rest of their life rather than settle? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that I'm not saying there are not some women. But you cannot say that
it's a thing for the female gender.
Some people say they are not even up to 30.
And they said yes.
Just because they want to get married early or something. But for you to say that all women in the whole of this world, they settle. You are nodding your head like a gamma lizard. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not possible. It is not true at all.
I hear you.
Even let me tell you, even some women that they are not even as rich as the person you're talking about.
Yes,
they will still say no. I'm not just going to go and marry
any riffraff.
I'm going to wait. I don't care. Now, even now that
and if they don't see their spec, they will keep waiting till
eternity. It's not about spec. Nobody's talking about spec. They just don't want to get married to. That's what I'm saying. We all know that as you get older, you know your priorities change.
Yes.
Do you understand? It changes.
You are more in touch with reality.
You're more realistic about your choices, about what you want. You understand? You're not living in the fantasy that I want a tall, dark, and handsome. You're more particular about the attributes, the person's capabilities, his behavior, and what he can, his capabilities, whatever.
That's
Do you understand? What he can offer you.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So you're not talking about, oh no, I want Prince Charming. No, he's not tall, he's not short, he's not. Do you understand? He's not romantic enough and something.
Take care of you.
No one is talking about taking care of your bed.
No, we're saying you move from a place of fantasy
to
a place of
reality.
reality.
From a place of fantasy to reality.
That's what I'm saying.
Reality.
Decide to pick someone
That's what I'm saying.
No. Okay, I'll keep quiet.
And then at that age, and they should not go and be meeting someone, maybe a drunkard or someone that doesn't even have a job, and then they are working, they have their own body.
So you think that?
So you think that at that age, you say, just let me
just come home,
come in,
put ring on my hand. Let's go.
Does she have money or not?
Does she have money? Even someone that doesn't even have money would not. Even someone. Women that they even like to be taking care of.
Woman will not get money, no go marry drunkard now. Waiting they want chop.
Even
if she has money, she cannot bring him
up.
So
wait,
let me
a woman that has money that will come and buy. It's a woman that has money that will come. Now that women are even more enlightened, that they know that men are after their money. So it's a woman that will now want to come and buy a man that she will come and be feeding.
Yes.
Then he will not have a wife in the village.
She wants everybody to know she has.
He will not keep a wife in the village that will be respecting him because he knows that he cannot expect that kind of. He will not get married to a village girl.
She can choose not to respect him.
She
can choose not to adore him. She can choose not to cook for him. But she has a husband. That's what she wants.
So what is the husband there?
The husband is the man. Is the man. Just that man there. So that they will say she's Mrs. So. She doesn't need to respect him. She has settled for him. And that's it. That settles it.
Trust me.
Have you getting it? You get the point now.
Please, I don't get any point.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
I don't know how to swim, but when they load me in the boat, we were like 155 people in one boat. So when we are going to Italy, we have run many hours. So on the way going, our boat now capsized because of the waves, and our boat is pumping boat. So when the waves throw in and they load us about 3 boats, 2 at the front, we are at the back. When the waves come in a big way and through, it capsized our boat. 65 people died in the same boat with me. About 30 girls and 35 boys died in the same boat. So when they are dying, they are sinking down. Some was catching my leg. Some drawing my clothes or my bag, shouting, "Biggie, Biggie, Biggie, Biggie." That's how I remove the clothes. I stay hanging, holding the rope that I'm holding on top of the boat. That's how. So after everything, all of us, about 55 people, well, 155 people, the people that remain on top of boats, maybe they are not more than 80 people again. So everybody was crying, that we are dying, no rescue. From 4 o'clock in the morning, our boat capsized. We are on top of the water till the next 4 o'clock in the evening. On the afternoon time, a helicopter come on top of us to come down like this a little bit. All of us was crying, raising hand up. They now carried the newborn baby, one woman having over there, to raise it up, to raise the baby up. In a way, the helicopter will see the baby. So we are shouting for rescue, rescue. So all of us was crying. I said, God, is it today I will die on top of sea? All of us crying. So as we are crying, the helicopter, they wind up, but I believe that they will be seeing us through the screen. After everything, when the helicopter left, it's like they caught the police people in the area. The police people now coming with a small boat to come and rescue us. When they rescue us, they will carry us to the prison to go and lock us. And when they lock us there, the Nigerians that are in that very highland will come and bail us with like 500 dinar. 500 dinar. When they bail us like 500 dinar, like they were using in form of 50,000 Nigeria. They use it to bail us out. They will go and lock us somewhere. Our family in Nigeria, we can be calling our family in Nigeria to pay 150,000 in their account. Then we gain like 100,000. They are using it to do business. In my life, even if they told me that Libya is like America again, I cannot try that country anymore in my life because I suffered a lot, honestly.
Hello and welcome to the newsroom. Here are the stories we're following at this time. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, says he was never arrested by UK immigration officials. In an interview with newsmen on Monday, the former Anambra governor explained this side of events. Obi said he was stopped for a routine immigration check while contradicting his party's claim that he was questioned for a long time. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NAD, says its 200% pay rise demand is not outrageous, insisting that the federal government can afford it. According to NAD National President Emeka Orji, the review of salaries of resident doctors should have taken place in 2014 with rising inflation and attendant economic shocks. Orji says the government has not reached out to the association for talks despite its 2-week ultimatum, but has been issuing threats. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has denied reports of banning Indomie instant noodles and has assured consumers that the product is safe for consumption. Earlier, health officials in Malaysia and Taiwan had claimed to detect ethylene oxide, a carcinogenic substance responsible for lymphoid and breast cancer. The Biden administration is set to end COVID vaccination requirements for federal employees and international air travelers. On May the 11th, the White House has revealed the retirement to be dropped the same day the administration says it will end the public health emergency tied to the coronavirus pandemic. The administration would also end vaccination requirements it had put in place for international air travelers as part of its effort to curb the spread of new variant of the coronavirus. JP Morgan Chase has taken over the troubled U.S. bank First Republic in a deal brokered by regulators. The chief executive of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, says the government has invited the banking giant, along with others, to step up and offered assurances about the industry. Worth more than $20 billion at the beginning of last month, the bank was known for its big home loan business and for its stable of wealthy clients. It was ranked as the 14th largest lender in the U.S. at the end of last year. The United Nations has warned that the conflict in Sudan could force 800,000 people to flee the country as battles between rival military factions persist in the capital despite a supposed ceasefire. With the country's population of 46 million, UN official Ralph Mazo says the body's refugee agencies was planning for an exodus of 815,000 people, including 580,000 Sudanese as well as foreign refugees now living in the country. Many fear for their lives in a power struggle between the army chief and RSF head who shared control of the government after a 2021 coup but fell out over a planned transition to civilian rule. In sports, FIFA President Gianni Infantino has threatened a television blackout of its year's Women's World Cup in major European countries unless broadcasters improve their offers for rights. Infantino in October criticized broadcasters who he said had offered 100 times less to screen the Women's World Cup compared to the men's tournament. With the World Cup to start July 20 and end August the 20th, Infantino says should the offers continue to be unfair, the Federation will be forced to not broadcast the FIFA Women's World Cup into the Big Five European countries. And that's it on the newsroom. To join us at the top of the hour for more stories, I am Fola Shadi. Well, Green Day. Bye for now.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
was nominated as the chairman of Grantmanship by the college management in 2018. And what is Grantmanship? Grantmanship is sourcing for grants for the development of the college. And so our first outing, we want to create awareness among the staffs on what is Grantmanship, and therefore invited 2 speakers. Professor Idachapa from my Confident University and Dr. Dabasaki from Ford Foundation. Along the line, he told us that they don't give grants and that they have specific area, and that is area of art. For years, you know, those in the art, in the School of Art, they have been dreaming of having something like this, but it is a matter of money. There's no money backing, nothing. So, but when he was now asking us, he talked to us about the policy, said, okay, we'll look into that. He said, okay, so if you are coming because they are interested in art, why don't we join it with an exhibition on sexual harassment? He said, that's all right. He now told us that that one will not fetch us much. That, okay, the college, since inception of the college, 1947, we have Department of Art. Later, it metamorphoses into School of Art. Do we have a collection center for all the arts? We said no. He said, well, what if you have a mini museum? I said, okay, that's a great idea. And now asked us to go and write proposal. So we left that place. So we rub mind, we write, we send to him, did some correction, he sent it back to us. But along the line, we found out that we cannot do it alone because we are science-based. So we need somebody that is fast in art. And that was how Dr. Rimolade came in. And the 3 of us, we wrote the proposal, he helped us fine-tune it, and that was how we get the grant of $100,000 for this project. But like I said, it is not this project alone. So 3 projects. This is the major one. Then we have the exhibition and we have the policy. So on the 25th of November this year, that is when we launched the 3.
Initially, we were just looking at a program where we address sexual harassment in the college. But by extension, we were able to get a museum out of the whole project. And the museum was launched on the 25th of November 2020.
What I could start with is that we were dealing with an abandoned space, and we had to deal with a lot of forces of the elements, which obviously we won this part. The fight continues, and our museum is in the basement space. The basement space takes more than half of the lower part of the building, so it's a large, very large space. The purpose of the space in itself, aside from the display space that you already have been through, the museum actually has 3 components, where we have the display place for the works that we've put up, and then we also have a research and repository section. This section is supposed to deal with future research. A lot of writing, of course, is going to start happening, and keeping a log of information. We've been here, the school has been here for such a long time, and it has so many relationships with so many artists in the city, and we want to begin to document them. So it becomes a space where anyone that is looking for information, primary information, not just things that you find online, things that these artists probably would keep or lose, like how you would go through Dali's foundation now and find notebooks and things. those are the kind of things that the museum is going to gather for research purposes. We're starting to work towards having our conservatory and preservation section. It's a restoration section, which works perfectly for us because our faculty has already for several years been running programs on methods and materials, and under methods and materials there's a section for preservation and conservation of art. So it's not a full-fledged course here. It's not even a full-fledged course anywhere close to us. So hopefully it would be filling a huge gap, not just for our community, but for artists and art collectors around us. We hope it becomes a service point moving forward.
Very happy about this because, like you have rightly said, that I've been here for a decade. Yeah, you see, we have Yusuf Grillo Gallery, and coming now to have Yaba Art Museum is very, very good. And we have to thank God for the people that sponsor the Ford Foundation for that, for this achievement. We thank God. And you see, this Yaba Art Museum is the first in all higher institutions in Nigeria, the first and in the higher institutions in Nigeria. As we all know, Yaba Art School is still the best. So we are coming again as the best to produce the largest art museum in any higher institution in this country.
For years, those in the School of Art, they have been dreaming of having something like this. But it is a matter of money. There's no money backing, nothing. So, but when he was now asking us, he talked to us about the policy, said, okay, we'll look into that. He said, okay, if you are coming because they are interested in art, why don't we join it with an exhibition on sexual harassment? He said, that's all right. But he now told us that one will not fetch us much. That, okay, the college, since the inception of the college, 1947, we have Department of Art. Later, it metamorphoses into School of Art. Do we have a collection center for all the arts? We said no. He said, well, what if you have a mini museum? I said, okay, that's a great idea. Now asked us to go and write proposal. So we left that place. So we rubbed mind, we write, we sent to him, did some correction, he sent it back to us. But along the line, we found out that we cannot do it alone because we are science-based. So we need somebody that is fast in art. And that was how Dr. Rimolade came in. And the three of us, we wrote the proposal. He helped us fine-tune it. And that was how we get the grant of $100,000 for this project. But like I said, it is not this project alone. So, 3 projects. This is the major one. Then we have the exhibition and we have the policy. So on the 25th of November this year, that is when we launch.
In this part of the world, when it comes to art school, I think Yaba Art School has been on for over 70 years, and that's quite a record. And with that, which means that her seeds are all over the place globally, right? So when it comes to adding to the content of what we have in here, In fact, we're just starting, right? Because we have a lot of people, alumni outside there that are willing, to actually have donate to this particular, museum, right? And so, like I told you earlier on, constantly, we'll be having this, enriching the collection. So, because like I told you, what we have, some of, students' works, lecturers, as well as supporters out there, right? If there's anything we are aiming at, it's, because we know what is happening outside there, and this is what we are ready to give locally. Now, come to the artifacts that are out there. Why do we travel out there to see those works? It's because of the way they've been packaged, and that is where, because you have a lot of, information about those things, those works, where they are, and when you see some of the promotions about them, you want to see them, right? So if there's anything, there's a question you ask whether we are ready for it. I want to say here in Yaba College of Technology, we are even ready, right? In the sense that the kind of space we have, the kind of packaging we are ready to give works in our collection, certainly it will compete favorably with what you have outside there. Because the fear, as far as I'm concerned, regarding our artifacts out there is it's because people troop out there to look at them because of the way they've been presented, the way they've been packaged, right? And if such works are, eventually repatriated, how are we sure that we want to? Because what they've done, that has added value to them. Once they bring it out there, if we are not careful, right, knowing the Nigerian thing, we might decide that we might discover that those works will lose their value, right? So it's now up, the onus is on us to see what we can do to actually up the game regarding packaging, adding value to that. And I want to tell you, people want to, wherever they are, they want to come down here to see those works, because whether you like it or not, the venue most times makes the event, right? So it's about where do you have the work. You don't just repatriate them and just put them somewhere where nobody cares for them, right? So these are the things we are ready to do in Yaba Art Museum. And as you can see, we're just starting. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Essentially, the role of museum is so very important to every house.